Welcome back to CGN. It's Bobby G. Delighted to be joined today by Barnes Blake. Good morning, Barnes. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking some time out. I know it's a busy time of year. You got schools in full gear, golf's in full
Sure.
gear, and I'm sure you guys are practicing crazy hard and getting ready for the next tournament. So, thanks again for coming out. So, we at CGN, we've been doing these for this is our second semester now. I think we've had over 35 interviews, and we get really, really positive feedback from the players, the media directors, but more importantly from the audience. And the audience, just so you know, ranges from junior golfers all the way through college, first year, second year on either the Epson Tour or Korn Ferry. So, some of the questions, feel free to impart any wisdom from your success. Especially for the younger audience, they really get a lot out of kind of stuff that you might share either in your mind or practice or other things. So appreciate you in advance of sharing some of that knowledge and some support in that regard. So Barnes, let's talk about growing up and how you got started and hooked on the game is the first question.
Yeah, so I come from a family of pretty big golfers, but my first draw to the game was my parents had a house on the golf course in Florida, and I would just sit in the backyard and watch all these guys go around, and then I'd see my dad and my grandfather go by and just be like, "What are they doing?" I kind of want to go try that. And then so one day my dad took me to the range, and the range there was an aqua range. So I found that concept to be really cool. Just being able to whack golf balls into the middle of a pond, that seemed awesome. But yeah, at the time I was so small I couldn't even get the ball to the water, which is only 20 yards away. But that kind of just escalated heavily into a full on addiction to the game.
Great. So in terms of learning the game, other than enjoying hitting it in the water, how did you who honed your technical skills and really got you, to get the fundamentals down and kind of and not only who, but kind of what did you work at and how did you get better as a young
Yeah, so I mean, initially I just was working with my dad, and then kind of as my game progressed, there was a golf pro, Gary Murphy, up in Greenwich, Connecticut, that I started working with a little bit to just kind of refine some of the more niche parts of the swing, stuff that was beyond my dad's basic golf knowledge. And then later ended up moving to New Jersey, started working with Jason Carbone, and then ultimately I'm now been working with Matt Wilson. And yeah, it's just kind of the improvement. It takes a ton of work. Swing changes are not easy, but it's I think making changes to the swing, it's one of the most important parts. You're never gonna get better if you don't make those changes, and a lot of times it gets really ugly and before it gets better, but ultimately you end up making those changes to get better, and if you stick with it, most of the time I feel like it ends up working out. But I definitely have had a lot of times where I've made some changes and it has gone horrendously wrong, and you don't wanna stick with it. Sometimes you have to tweak it a little bit, but I I'm a person who loves to just stick with things that I try. So ultimately, I think I mostly have success just kind of sticking with it and grinding it out.
Well, you nailed that question right out of the park, with some advice for our younger golfers and our younger viewing audience. So thank you for jumping right in on there. So let's just talk a little bit more about your junior career and then in high school. You went to Westfield High School in New Jersey. So let's talk a little bit about your high school career and kind of what, how you things started clicking. And then you're like, man, I'm thinking maybe I can play Division I golf and talk to us a little bit and share your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, so I was always super into competing, and did pretty well in a lot of the state stuff, and with the Metropolitan Golf Association in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. So I played a ton of those events, placed decently well up until kind of about halfway through high school. And then finally, after my senior year, once I graduated, that's when things started to really click. And I ended up winning the Met Junior and the Carter Cup a couple weeks back to back. So that was when my game really took it to the next level. But kind of in the years before that, the years kind of leading up to recruiting, I was always just super competitive in those. Even if I wasn't winning, I was somewhere up near the top and in contention for sure. And that's ultimately how I decided and got recruited to the Division I level.
Yeah, so clearly, significant progression every year, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then, so when you got to your senior year, junior year in high school, what was your thought process about where you wanted to go play
Yeah.
college?
So, I mean, the biggest thing for me was I wanted to go to a place, the school with really high academics that would allow me to do whatever I want after college. I think golf is an incredible tool. It opens a ton of doors, and I think I would be doing myself a disservice by going somewhere that literally just aligns me to kind of go pro and not open all the other doors of maybe going to work in the finance world, maybe go and work in the medical industry, something else. So because like that's a crazy decision to make when you're 16, 17 years old. I wanted to go somewhere that was still going to leave all those doors open for me and allow me to have more time to develop as a person and ultimately decide what I want. And ultimately kind of decided on Georgetown just because that offered the high level academics, and competitive golf as well, but also just kind of the culture of the team and everyone who's ever been to Georgetown. I haven't heard anyone who's ever spoken badly about it, said they've had a poor time there. So, that was a huge draw. And then the culture of the team here is just incredibly tight. We have so much fun together. It's a super tight knit group of guys. We all love each other. It's just an incredible culture to be a part of, and it really just pushes me to get better each and every day.
It's great. Just want to back up beginning of that answer because really appropriate time to do a shout out to your parents, Mr. and Mrs. Blake. I got to tell you, you've raised a phenomenal young, very awesome young man at first. And, your answer about the academics, you obviously, speaking to you, Mr. and Mrs. Blake, you did an amazing job instilling some tremendous values in your son. So, with that perfect setup, Barnes, I'll let you do a shout out to your folks and thank them. I'm sure they're going to enjoy watching you on this live stream video. So go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you to my parents. They and my brother and sister. They've all put a bunch of sacrifices in place to kind of give me the opportunity to be here now, and it definitely does not go unrecognized. So thank you.
And how about all those clothes that were perfectly cleaned by your mom or care made you look good in the sharp young man that you are?
And
So
all the golf towels covered in dirt.
exactly. All right. So shout out to Mr. Blake as well. So do your siblings play golf or any other sports?
Yeah, so my younger brother plays. He's a junior or a sophomore in high school right now. So hopefully he will also follow in my footsteps and go play golf in college. And then my sister, she's a lacrosse player, so she's a freshman over playing lacrosse at Denison University.
So she's got the biggest stick in the family.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Do you and your brother and your dad or mom ever go out and play as a threesome or foursome?
Yeah, so my dad plays a lot. So me and my brother and him will go out and play a lot. My mom plays a little bit, but not that much.
Right. Do you ever let them win, or you always gotta, win all the birdie rounds?
Yeah, it's close with me and my brother sometimes, but I I normally like to come out on top.
Okay. All right. Well, you just fed him a big, big whopper there, so he's gonna be grinding extra hard. So, thanks for that background, and again, congrats to your parents and your siblings. So you go to Georgetown. Firstly, you got to get acclimated as a freshman in college, which is not an easy task. You got, you're on your own, so to speak, even though you have great coach and players around you and roommates and such. But how did you find, matriculating into your freshman year with all the hard work in the classroom, as well as now you're expected to do all this work, to improve, your game and the team?
Yeah, so golf it's a tough sport in that we don't go back to school early and we start the second we get to campus. So like you don't really get here early before classes start. You don't have like the couple weeks like some of the other classes or other sports do. They get here early, they practice, they move in, all that, and like have a week or two to like adjust, and then classes start. You get here my freshman year, I think I had like 3 or 4 days before classes start to move in, and then practice starts, classes start, and then you're competing like a week later. So you're just thrown right into it. So at first, like that was kind of just a whirlwind, but honestly, I think it was better just because it forced me to just immediately like figure out how to do things. Like it there wasn't that time to like, okay, like ramp this up. It's like, all right, you have paper due here, you have a tournament here, you got to go to practice, you got an exam here, and it's like, all right, like I have to like schedule my time. I got to figure out when I'm going to do all these things, and it's like, and and that kind of really helped me. I somehow just picked it up really quickly. I think part of that is coming from high school. Like my junior year, I loaded up my schedule pretty much as hard as I could. I think I took 4 AP classes, so I'd pretty much be come home after school, practice till like 6 or 7, and then kind of do homework until like midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning every night, and wake up, do it the same thing the next day. So I was kind of used to it in that respect. So I think that also helps. But definitely being thrown into it initially was super helpful, and by the time the off season came, it was like, "Whoa, like, what do I do with all my time?" Like, I've gotten so good at getting everything done in such an efficient manner. It was like it was a little weird, but I think that was definitely super helpful, and I've continued all those habits that I developed my freshman year,
Well,
and
it looks like
through.
they were very successful. You played in a handful of tournaments your freshman year, but then your sophomore year, you really started to explode as a player. It looks like, from that foundation that you built your first year. I mean, you had a bunch of top five finishes, a runner up at the Big East Championship your sophomore year. Some other named to all Big East second team, Division One Cobalt Golf American Scholar. You competed in the U.S. Men's Am your sophomore year. So that was really exciting. And then you you uh you really crushed it over the summer as well. So what was it that kind of really started clicking for you your sophomore year leading into your junior year?
Yeah, so kind of really my putter was what improved the most. Kind of going into the second half of last year, I put a ton of work over the summer, but wasn't really clicking yet. And then finally, like right before our final event of the fall, I just started. I think all that work started paying off, and started putting really well, and that momentum kind of carried through the spring. But kind of ultimately made the biggest difference was combining that the better putting with improving my iron play, because iron play is typically what has held me back in the past, and it's just hard to go out and shoot 7 under when you're not hitting your irons great and you're hitting 13 greens around. It's tough to play. So I worked a lot on kind of making a few little changes to hopefully improve my irons, and that when that started clinking, that's kind of when I started seeing all of these really good finishes, like the state am that last day.
That was huge. Congrats. Yeah, the
Ye-
we have a New Jersey State Am this summer. So how was that?
Yeah, that was great. That was kind of really that was one of the best ball striking rounds I've had. And what made that win especially special is I had my little brother on the bag, so it was really cool to kind of just share that with him. But yeah, that was the win was awesome, but it was the fashion that it happened. I was really proud of that because it also provided me with a ton of confidence, because I think I was, I don't know, 5 or 6 shots back going into that final day,
Wow.
and ended up shooting 3 under and then 4 under the last 2 rounds to come from behind and win in a playoff. So I mean, even when I thought like I didn't think I was out of it. I mean, I knew I had a chance, but I knew I would have to play some really good golf to come back and win.
Yeah.
But it really just proved to me that like no matter how far back you are, it's totally doable to come back and win any golf
What a
tournament.
what a great lesson for, a younger audience where, you're down and you're like, "Hey, there's 36 holes left. I gotta keep grinding," and, talk a little bit about, the dynamic of, 36 holes on the final day. Obviously, it's a longer day. You're obviously in top physical and mental condition, but it is a grind. And since golf is a game of perfection, not every shot, I assume, never happens to me, but this is what I read about. Sometimes people hit a bad shot. and never me. I never hit one wayward. But I hear that happens. So I'm just curious from a guy, of your caliber, what do you do to kind of put that bad swing or bad shot or bad break, even where, you get stuck in a bad lie or, it lips out or something like that. How do you put that in the rear view mirror, Barnes, and how do you move forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the hardest things in golf, just not letting your past shots affect your future shots. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you have 0 control. You can't change what happened, but yeah, like, that was the front 9 of the final day on the 3rd round of the state am. Like, I mean, I hit good shots, but then I also hit, like, a handful of bad shots, and knowing you have to go out there and take it deep, it was really frustrating to kinda deal with, but, I just kinda hung in there and just focused. I mean, as cliche is, just focus 1 shot at a time, which it really is true, just um, kinda leaving the last shot in the past and just taking it, like, just fully committing to each and every shot. That kinda helped me just kind of stay in the present and keep working towards it, and then kinda that back 9 hit, and I rattled off, like, three birdies, and then it was like, "Okay, there's a chance here," like, after starting the front 9 all frustrated because I hit a couple bad shots, like, that it doesn't dictate the round at all.
It's great. Great story. And then you won the Georgetown Intercollegiate and the team won. So how awesome was that tournament?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and actually kind of a similar manner. I think, going into the back 9 on the last round, I think I was 6 shots back or something. It was another huge come from behind win, and the same thing happened, like, I rattled off a couple birdies, 2 birdies, and was, like, 2 under, and then, like, missed, like, a 5-foot slider, and then 3 putted the next 2 holes. I mean, they were tough 2 putts. I didn't put myself in the greatest spots, but then I was sitting at even par when I easily could have been, like, 3 under, knowing I needed to take it deep to win, and that was, again, another point of frustration, but yeah, kinda had to put that behind me, and then went out and birdied 11, 12, 13, and then made a really nice birdie putt on 17
What a
to
what a
ultimately come back.
what a great story, man. Your resiliency, I mean, your coaches and your teammates, not only are proud of you, probably learning a lot from, look, Barnes, was 6 back and he came back. And so it's just great inspiration, confidence for yourself, more importantly, first and foremost, but also, how that trickles down to your teammates and how that inspires them to not give up and be resilient after, a couple bad shots or a 3 putt or 2, 3 putts or whatever the case may be. So you've had a great semester this year. You're off to a phenomenal start after a smoking hot summer. What's looking down the road? What do you expect to accomplish the rest of this year, both personally and for the team?
Yeah, I mean, for both the team and I, we our goal is to win a Big East championship and ultimately make a run at the NCAA championship. I think our goals are very aligned in that respect. Um, but you can't get too outcome focused. I can only control what I can control. I can't control if somebody goes out there and shoots 62, 62, 62. Like, I can go and try to shoot 62, 62, 62, but, like, I have 0 control over what my competitors do. All I can control is making sure that I can prepare to the best of my ability to give myself the best shot in going out there and playing some good golf. So, yeah, outcome goals, a lot of people set them, but I'm just gonna try to go out and hit as many good golf shots as I can and add them up at the end.
Well, great way to finish up. Want to wish you and the Hoyas much continued success this year. It was a pleasure meeting you, sir. It was really great, and we're pulling for you. I know we collaborate a lot with your school, and we'll continue to do so. And I hope we'll see you at a tournament really soon.
Yeah, thank you so much again.